Hey, it's Anthony with eXp Realty, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the top 5 inner city communities in Calgary. Before we get into the video, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as I'm always coming out with new Calgary related content. I'm constantly asked what is the best neighborhood in Calgary or where is the best place to live here? And the truth is it really depends on what you're looking for in a neighborhood. Some people prefer living in an older area with a larger lot and mature trees, while others prefer being closer to the action, living closer to downtown with access to shops and restaurants. There's a variety of reasons why people decide on where exactly to live. With that said, this is the first video in a series where I'll be breaking down the top 5 neighborhoods in Calgary with a particular set of criteria, giving you my honest opinion on what each neighborhood has to offer and what it might be lacking. In today's video, we'll be focusing on inner city neighborhoods. When you think of inner city neighborhoods, you often think of places with high walkability, close proximity to downtown, businesses, or even access to parks and walkways. Well, this is some of the criteria I've used to narrow down my list to just 5 communities. Other factors that were taken into consideration were schools, access to public transportation, safety, my personal experience, and maybe a few Reddit searches as well. And overall, what each community has to offer. To be completely honest, this list was actually very difficult to narrow down to just 5 neighborhoods, as there are so many great communities here in Calgary. Make sure to stick to the end to see the honorable mentions. Now, without further ado, let's get into the video. Starting off with number 5, we have East Village, the closest neighborhood on this list to the downtown core. While it has a lot of positives that we'll go over here, there are a few negatives that hold it back and why it's only ranked at number 5 on our list. East Village is an urban neighborhood located on the east side of downtown Calgary. East Village is a happening area covered in modern high-rise condos where hip eateries, indie music venues, galleries, and clothing stores fill converted warehouses. Landmarks include the architectural masterpieces such as the Central Library and National Music Center Studio Bell. It also contains the earliest settled land in all of Calgary, which is Fort Calgary. But it's not just about the attractions here. East Village has much more to offer. It's the perfect place to walk, run, or bike, as it's situated next to the Bow River and St. Patrick's Island Park, where you'll find wooded trails and a fishing cove. With years of city planning, you can also find plenty of plazas, parks, a great dog park, and even a community garden. It's also home to the former Simmons Mattress Factory that's been converted to a butcher, a baker, and a coffee shop. If you get a chance, I highly recommend taking in the views on the scenic rooftop patio there. Getting to work is also a breeze with the commercial core just around the corner and the City Hall C-Train station just a few steps away. There is really a lot to love about this up-and-coming neighborhood, but it's not all rosy here, as East Village has somewhat of a stigma from years past, and some Calgarians would say that safety is still a concern. I'd highly recommend visiting for yourself or reading up on it online, because it still has a bit of mixed reviews. Overall, East Village is an energetic community with lots of developments still happening. With that said, East Village is the 8th most walkable neighborhood in Calgary with a walk score of 79, a bike score of 91, and a transit score of 84. Next up, and number 4 on our list, is Mission. This hip inner city community focuses around the lively 4th Street, which is dotted with sculptures by local artists and home to stores selling premium wines, indie designer fashion, and a plethora of dining options. Originally, the neighborhood of Mission was a Francophone settlement and was actually one of the earliest non-native settlements in all of Calgary. Fast forward a few years and it's now a trendy, bustling suburb filled with cool cafes, bustling bars, and beautiful walking paths along the river. Mission is also only a 20-minute walk from the downtown core and less than 5 minutes to the popular and ever busy 17th Avenue. The Stampede Grounds and the Saddle Dome are also just around the corner, as well as the BMO Center, which is currently being extensively renovated. Additionally, the Elbow River alongside Lindsay Park will provide the peace and quiet needed after a fun-filled weekend exploring all the hidden gems here. You're in the perfect location to experience the annual Calgary Stampede every July and to catch all the Flame games and concerts at the Saddle Dome. Being located in the heart of Calgary, Mission is very convenient when it comes to transit. The train station is just a mere 15-minute walk away, as well as the numerous amounts of bus routes that travel throughout the area that can take you to any part of the city you want. There's also a never-ending list of restaurants, pubs, cafes, and even breweries to try, all within easy walking distance, giving you tons of variety and diversity to choose from. The Restful Sports Center is also just a 5-minute walk away and has everything from a weightlifting area to basketball or even an Olympic-sized pool. If you prefer the outdoors, there are numerous trails around the Elbow River and Boat River, as well as the beautiful parks such as Stanley Park and the River Park. Mission has been described as living in the best part of downtown without actually living downtown. When we look at the negatives, there's not too many here. One would be that living options are primarily apartment condos, with many of them being a bit older. The area has been prone to flooding as well in the past because of its proximity to the river, and grocery shopping options are quite limited in the immediate area. Overall, Mission has a fantastic mix of restaurants, entertainment, as well as a mix of green spaces and walking paths. Mission's walk score is 76 and is the 10th most walkable neighborhood in all of Calgary. It also has a bike score of 90 and a transit score of 65. For our third ranked neighborhood, we head to the south side of downtown all the way to Altadore. Altadore is a residential neighborhood in the inner city portion of the southwest quadrant of Calgary, and it forms part of the Marda Loop Community Association, claiming the south side of Marda Loop, one of Calgary's busiest outdoor shopping areas that includes over 100 top coffee shops, laid-back pubs, and specialty restaurants. This inner city neighborhood has a little bit of everything, but it's not all about the shops and restaurants here. This trendy neighborhood is more than that. It offers occupants a great place to live with a wide variety of housing options, plenty of green space, and great access to and from downtown, with 14th Street on one side and Crowchild Trail on the other. The electric nature of this neighborhood is reflected on the streets themselves, with multi-million-dollar infills going up alongside a wide variety of character homes and plenty of newly built condos. There's also plenty to like here when it comes to green spaces and parks, as this neighborhood borders the Elbow River and encompasses Sandy Beach Park and the River Park, with a total park size accumulating over 55 hectares of land, with excellent spots for dog walking, picnics, non-motorized riverboat access, and leisurely weekend rides with plenty of bike paths. The fun doesn't stop there, as the neighborhood also features an outdoor pool, an indoor-outdoor skating rink, yoga centers, tennis courts, and a curling rink, not to mention 2 separate golf courses. Downtown Calgary is just a short distance away to the north as well, at around 5 kilometers or a 10-minute car ride. Great schools add to the recent influx of younger families in this neighborhood. Altadore has one public elementary school, which is Altadore Elementary, several private schools, the Calgary Waldorf School, and the Glenmore Christian Academy serve the private education sector, while older children in the public school sector attend Mount Royal Junior High and Central Memorial High School. On top of that, the community features many festivals throughout the year, such as the annual Marda Loop Justice Film Festival and the annual Mardi Gras Street Festival that's held each August. On the negative side of things, like most inner city communities, housing costs can get expensive, especially when looking at newer infills. Traffic congestion and parking can also be hard to come by. Additionally, there is no C-train access here, so you would need to rely on the Max Yellow bus line to get to downtown. Altadore overall has a walk score of 53, a bike score of 68, and a transit score of 48. Rounding out our top 2 inner city neighborhoods, we have Calgary's original neighborhood, Inglewood. Inglewood actually has the distinction of being Calgary's oldest neighborhood and is situated right across Elbow River from Fort Calgary. The community was established in 1875 after the fort was built. 9th Avenue, or formerly Atlantic Avenue, was actually the first main street in all of Calgary. Originally known as East Calgary or Brewery Flats, this community was not officially given the name Inglewood until 1911, when it was named after a nearby homestead established by Cole James Walker. Today, the neighborhood is a shopping, arts, and culture-filled district with more than 220 businesses, including shops, boutiques, and eateries, attracting locals and tourists alike. This historical place has really managed to keep its charm. Trendy restaurants, charming shops, and classic meeting spots make this neighborhood perfect for families and hipsters alike. It's sure to make you feel like you're in a small town, even with downtown Calgary skyline just across the river. It is home to multiple festivals and events throughout the year, including Music Mile, Jazz YYC, Sunfest, the Calgary Fringe Festival, the Bleak Midwinter Film Festival, night markets, Christmas in Inglewood, and many others. It boasts many iconic Calgary live music venues like the Ironwood Stag and Grill, the Blue Can, and Festival Hall, the headquarters for the Calgary International Folk Festival. Natural reserves include the Inglewood Bird Sanctuary, which has over 200 different species of birds, the Bow Habitat Station, Inglewood Wildlands Park, and the Sam Livingston Fish Hatchery. It is directly across the Bow River from the Calgary Zoo and St. Patrick's Island, and across the Elbow River from Fort Calgary Historic Park. With Calgary being an ever-expanding city, Inglewood has really managed to maintain its small village charm. Inglewood is just a 10-minute bicycle ride to the center of Calgary. It has great access to major roadways such as Deerfoot and Memorial, and is just a short drive to the nearest C-train station. Cycling, walking, and transit routes all have extensive networks here and are well used. On top of that, crime rates are very low in this neighborhood. At the same time, Inglewood really retains a diverse population with more affordable housing options here than any other neighborhood in Calgary. When we look at the negatives, again, there is not a lot here. Some occupants may not be too excited to live so close to the train tracks or the industrial parks to the south of the community. With that said, Inglewood has a walk score of 44, a bike score of 60, and a transit score of 56. And number one on our list, the top neighborhood when taking all the criteria into consideration, is the beautiful neighborhood of Sunnyside. Sunnyside is the definition of a great inner city community, streets filled with character homes, modern condos, plenty of art, and some incredible green spaces. A location that's hard to beat, located in close proximity to downtown, the Bow River, U of C, SAIT, and the Foothills Hospital. Situated between Hillhurst and Crescent Heights, two neighborhoods that could have easily made this list, Sunnyside is also adjacent to the ever-popular and trendy Kensington, with over 250 shops and services, as well as some cool historic buildings combined with modern architecture. But all in all, it really has more of a small village vibe here. It has a very cool and hipster take on the variety of shops and public art you see around. Kensington is actually more than 100 years old, and it continues to be a great inner city shopping district for tourists and is a very popular destination for locals for dates and hanging out. Sunnyside also has direct access to the Sunnyside C-train station to get you across the city or through the downtown core. On top of that, you can take the Peace Bridge across the river to take a stroll through the many paths in Princess Island Park, where you can enjoy vast green spaces next to the scenic views of downtown. Calgary has an elementary school. Grocery stores include the Safeway and the Sunnyside Market. Sunnyside is also home to the Calgary Curling Club. There isn't much not to like about this popular neighborhood. One of the positives is somewhat of a negative. With its close proximity to the river, it is actually situated in a flood zone and has been prone to flooding in the past. Overall, Sunnyside has a walk score of 75, a bike score of 91, and a transit score of 74. And those were the top 5 inner city neighborhoods in Calgary. As I mentioned at the start of the video, this was a very difficult list to narrow down to just 5 communities. Honorable mentions go to Bridgeland, Crescent Heights, and Hillhurst, who all could have very easily made this list. But I'd love to know what you think. Do you agree with this list, or would you make any changes? Let me know in the comments which inner city neighborhood in Calgary is your favorite. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you want to stay up to date with all things real estate here in Calgary, make sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification. Thank you again. I'll see you on the next one.